evening and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Agadez in Niger. Now, as you can see, you can kind of see a lot of Niger here in this shot. This is the best page I have in my big atlas of Agadez. Agadez is huge. It pretty much takes up like half of Niger. Big portion of it. And that is because there's nothing here. This is part of the Sahara Desert. It starts to slowly turn into the Sahel region down in southern Niger. Still very dry and deserty, but not nearly as much as the Sahara. And there's just a lot of space here because there's a lot of sand. You can see the Grand Erg of Bilma and the Erg of Tenerife. An erg is a word that pretty much just means like a sand desert, like an ocean of sand, pretty much. It's just rolling hills of sand, like when you think of the Sahara and you picture just endless sand as far as the eye can see. That's an erg. So we have those here and over here, which it kind of extends up to here as well. Up here you can see another part of the Tenerife Desert within the Sahara. This is not quite sandy. It's a lot rockier than the ergs down here. And then we head over to this area, which, as you can see on my map, is very rocky. These are the Ayer Mountains. And yes, they are mountains. They are very rocky. And as you can see, there's a lot of underground water and wadis in this area, which means lots of oases and plant life. So pretty much anyone who lives in Agadez lives within the Ayer Mountains. The rest are just little oases, towns, or stopovers for traders or nomads. Here's the capital city of Agadez. And pretty much that's about it for the geography. South of here it starts turning into the Sahel, much more suitable for human life than the Sahara up here. So even though it's a very big area, it's a very basic one in terms of geography. It is desert, rocks, the end. But some very beautiful cities within this area nonetheless. But we're actually going to start off history very long ago, as many archaeologists found loads of dinosaur bones within Agadez. Lots of really cool cave paintings in the mountains, and lots of evidence of very ancient settlements. So humans have been living in Agadez for a very long time. The most prominent ethnic group in its early history were the Tuareg. The Tuareg are nomads that would cross the Sahara Desert looking for grazing land for their cattle and also to trade. So they would come through here very often. And often they met up with the Hausa people who lived just about here. You can't see, it goes off the screen here, but like what's today southern Niger, northern Nigeria, is the home of the Hausa people. So the Tuareg and Hausa would meet up to trade, and that's essentially how the city of Agadez was created, as a meetup place between these two very different, very interesting cultures. This area would evolve into the Sultanate of Agadez, which was a Wikipedia says a Berber kingdom. I assume that's a branch of like the Tuareg, right? The Berbers. Also very like nomadic kind of peoples. And if they're sultanates, they obviously interacted enough with their Hausa neighbors who are also Muslim to create a sultanate. And the historic areas of Agadez are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So let me pull up UNESCO's website so we can take a look at some pictures and read some of the description here. The Historic Center of Agadez. It says, known as the gateway to the desert, Agadez, on the southern edge of the Sahara Desert, developed in the 15th and 16th centuries when the Sultanate of Ayr was established and Tuareg tribes were sedentarized in the city, respecting the boundaries of old encampments, which gave rise to a street pattern still in place today. The historic center of the city, an important crossroads of the caravan trade, is divided into 11 quarters with irregular shapes. They contain numerous earthen dwellings and a well-preserved group of palatial and religious buildings, including a 27-meter-high minaret made entirely of mud brick, the highest such structure in the world. The site is marked by ancestral, cultural, commercial, and handicraft traditions still practiced today, and presents exceptional and sophisticated examples of earthen architecture. And most of the pictures on UNESCO's website are of this incredible minaret. Very typical for the area in its architecture. Let's take a look at some pictures, even though it's pretty much all just of the minaret. But if you're wondering why there's so many sticks poking out, it's because they would use these to climb and repair the building. You can see it looks like they're putting on a fresh coat of mud on here to help preserve it. So that is why there's so many sticks sticking out. And let's see if there isn't a picture of like what the downtown area looks like. They're pretty much like this. Very mud brick, very flat, very beautiful. We've gone back too far. Okay, you get the idea. A big old mud brick city here. Lots and lots of traditions. This area was conquered by the Songhai Empire in the year 1500. Songhai being centered just over here. You can just see it off the map, but not quite, where Timbuktu is located. And Songhai was kind of more Timbuktu, Mauritania-ish. They were very spread out. It was a very huge empire. But the Agadez Sultanate peoples reconquered their land and declared independence in 1591. But by then the spark had kind of gone out, and it wasn't as glorious as it was in the old days. I am filming this in the morning, and there, like I said in my last video, there's a lot of birds nesting right outside my window. So that's, I'm starting to recognize there's little songs. That's one of the mommy birds. She yells at the daddy bird when he's not there. So that's the birds. Anyway. So when the French moved in, they saw their opportunity and took over the area by the year 1900, and the people here were not happy about French rule. They really treasured their independence, and many rebellions rose up against the French. The most notable one was led by a man with a very long name. His last name was Cowson, and that revolution lasted from 1909 to 1917. It was very violent. Lots of militant groups raiding cities, conquering them. All the bells and whistles of that. But the French managed to rise up and be stronger than them and take everything back by 1917. So people here were never really truly pleased with French rule, so when opportunity for independence came in 1960, they definitely took it and Niger declared independence. Now, since the French weren't really happy about this region because the people here were very violent, they had neglected it for a very long time. So once independence came to Niger, they didn't have a lot to work with. The French weren't really as cooperative as they were with some of their other former territories. They were just kind of like, well, here you go. Be independent now, okay? Go on. So they didn't have a lot. There was a lot of famine. Very severe droughts hit this region in the late 1900s. And the region has never really managed to bounce back from any of that and rise up, just because they don't really have a lot of resources. There are still Tuareg rebellions that happen out here in the desert who want Agadez to be fully independent like it was when it was a sultanate. Those are mainly in the 1990s and late 2000s, but it's still there. Also, a lot of Islamist militants have moved into the area, taking advantage of the instability. But if you Google Agadez today to kind of find out what the big news topics are, you're going to find a lot about trafficking, especially in the city of Agadez. Apparently, this is now a meetup spot for people trying to smuggle their way out of Africa into southern Europe. And, sometimes it's people who are fleeing from poverty and want to find better opportunities for their families. And to put it nicely, some people are there unwillingly. So that's unfortunately what Agadez is pretty much associated with today. It's very unfortunate, and hopefully someday this area will be able to bounce back, like I said, and become the beautiful place that it is today. That's all that I have for you. I'm gonna go figure out what's wrong with the birds outside. They sound very distraught, if you can hear them. And I'm going to stop it there for now. If you enjoyed this kind of content, please consider subscribing, because we're going to every region around the world. Next, we're going to be heading to Azerbaijan. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you found this video relaxing and educational, and I hope that you have a very good night. Good night.